Say, look at all these happy go lucky people just making their way down Broadway and having themselves a ginger peachy time. These are the same people who, when the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, they thought, whoa, this movie was really scary and really disturbing. Folks, after the first 10 or 12 minutes, basically, it was a guy in a mask with a chainsaw yelling and running around chasing people. And that's pretty much the story. I didn't like it. I thought, as far as horror stories are concerned, it probably hit a new low. Not like these Fraylocks down here going about their happy day thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre was. And how do I know they think that? Because it's been remade. That's why everybody thought they had a better idea on the thing. No, doesn't get better. It's just, I know, based in truth, but still, bad story. Tonight's movie is in similar fashion. As cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and the purveyor of truth in movies. And tonight's lesson plan is a film called NECROPATH. I just shook my head on this one, folks. I really, truly did. Now, the pre publicity said, say hello to a new horror icon. Welcome the new phase of horror. Wow. I mean, first, this movie has scintillating dialogue where we get to hear such classic lines as knife, gun, baby. I mean, I don't know. Wadsworth maybe contributed to this. Wow. No. There's even a scene that they rip off from George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Remember the original? There was this big hoopla as to whether or not to go into the basement. Do you remember that? Yeah, that's pretty much a classic scene. The idea of we'll be safe down there, we'll be trapped down there. Should we go down there? That whole scenario. Well, there's a part of this that, I mean, it just rips it off blatantly. You'll recognize it as soon as you see it. And that is just the beginning of how this movie bursts its bubble. So occasionally I'll be sitting around and I'll watch the kids play video games. And what happens in the video games, which never made any sense to me, happens in this movie. As you walk through various buildings, there are guns. Sometimes the guns have bullets in them. Sometimes you have to go look for the bullets. I don't know where this happens. I go a lot of places during the daytime, even during the nighttime. And I never find guns lying around and maybe bullets over here and over there. And well, it just so happens this 9 mil Luger will fit this gun. And here we go. But it happens in this movie. And of course, when you need the bullets in the gun, you don't have any. And when it doesn't matter whether you have the bullets or not, you've got them aplenty. So it's, oh, goodness gracious, it's one of those things. I told you about the bad dialogue. I told you about the guns. Let me tell you something else here. When this movie was made, it was made tricky, okay? Because there's no real conversations and dialogue, possibly three throughout the entire movie, very short things. The dialogue instead is replaced by very loud, discordant music. All right. And all during the playing of the music, our main antagonist, and for this movie, he's almost the protagonist, is uh, Mo. He plays Isaac. Okay? Mo Isaac is the fellow who plays this. And, it's not that Mo does a bad job. Mo does a pretty good job uh, playing this role. He basically just doesn't have to do anything but wear the makeup and scream and yell and swing a knife around and occasionally shoot a gun with bullets in it. And he's doing this all the while you have this loud, discordant music. So really bad, loud music. This guy screaming and yelling and looking maniacal into the screen, and basically that's probably about 90% of your movie. Just and then on top of it, I guess they knew they kind of had a limited budget, and probably the fake blood was looking a little too fake. So, how they shot this thing is they used red flashing lights. Now, I got to tell you, after watching this movie, I had to take my glasses off, give my eyeballs a little rest, and try to calm down a little bit because this flashing, constantly flashing red light has a cumulative effect on you, and it makes you, just you just don't feel good after you've done it. There are flickering lights, there are red flashing lights, and then on top of that, for some key action scenes, they use the close up shots, cut very quickly so that everything is frantic, very hard to see what's going on, just these flashing images coming at you during flashing red lights. And wow, it's just, it, it's, it's truly a hot mess. Let me see if I can try to salvage this movie for you. Uh, I am not recommending this movie. Okay, this movie was just dreadful to watch. I had a very difficult time making it to the end. All right, but like I said, when you're a bona fide film critic, you get a lot of press material about what they were trying to do in the movie and the director's statement and his claim for the movie. And I think it might be important at this point to share some of those with you. Now, I don't think this is going to ruin the movie for you. I don't think you can ruin this movie, but perhaps some of this information may help you. The story, our main character, Mo Isaac, he's a real Freylock. He is a drug addicted psychopath. And we run into him on the night the zombie apocalypse begins to take over. Okay? And we follow him through his evening as he is looking to score his next fix and kill as many people as he possibly can. Okay, let's put that aside. That's the whole plot in a nutshell. There's no redeeming heroic arcs. There's no three acts, to follow intro conflict resolution. There's none of that. Okay. Now, in the director's statement, let me give you the director's name. Is Joshua Reel is the gentleman who wrote and directed this, and he claims in his statement that this movie, Necropath, is essential to what is happening in our society today because it's all about big pharma creating a vaccine for a virus in collusion with the government to destroy the people and eliminate the population and just cause general havoc throughout the civilization. So I would assume what the government can come in and mop up afterwards. Folks, nowhere in this story is it ever mentioned anything about big government other than the fact the military complex is telling all survivors to get to the stadium, which we never see. Okay, uh, the only hint, I'll call it a hint, that there might be big pharma involved in this story is there seems to be a plethora of hypos lying around in various rooms and on the street, and they're just like the guns and the bullets. You know, you just happen to you got to walk down the right hall to find them, and then you can use them. Wow. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what Joshua was going for in this. I mean, it's a really cute statement, and it's a way of taking this movie and giving it some kind of social relevance, but it's not, folks. It's think Grindhouse, and then in the Grindhouse, take away all the semblance of plot and the sex scenes and the excessive gore scenes, and just cut them all out, and that pretty much is what you're left with Necropath. I mentioned Mo Isaac, who was the kind of the hero. Uh, Probably not. Probably the lead antagonist, I guess. And I don't know. There isn't one uh, protagonist and antagonist. But also starring with Mo Isaac is Nathan Fandry and Cassandra Hayes. So that's your trio of main stars there. And I it's difficult to comment on their acting ability because the material is just pretty awful. Yeah, it really is. I mean, Mo is acting his most bizarre self, but geez, even that can't salvage this thing. Now, all that tidbit of information I gave you about the director's statement and everything, normally I try to stay away from those things because they're generally just written up by some PR staffer and kind of like Biden speeches, and they usually don't have a lot of basis in reality. But I thought maybe if I told you this and then you go watch the movie, maybe it will enlighten you a little bit and maybe you can appreciate it certainly a little better than I did. So let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Boy, I found nothing worthwhile in this at all, and I'll avoid this one like the proverbial Wuhan virus. Not that. Now that you have learned what you have learned, here it is your lesson.